We'll have Ryan FRACE here back in just a moment. Want to touch on some of the interesting protocols. What I'm doing is I'm updating a lot of the old wellness protocols. You'll see a stamp date. If the date is longer than 6 months, and you do have access to the wellness conditions, which is a limited number of our listeners and people that order, they have to get the access code from Michelle. You can't buy it. You have to be a regular customer, recent regular customer. And doesn't matter if you're a health professional, only Michelle determines who gets the code. And if you do and you want to find something old, just drop me an email and say, hey, I want the updated version. I'll update it and send you the protocol and update it on the file, because we have hundreds of protocols going back years and a lot of new products that replace old ones, a lot of new upgrades on those products as well. So I want you to be aware of that. It's pretty amazing, all the new nutraceuticals and technology we have. And just to cover some of the things, we have, of course, our NutriMed line, several hundred products that are very unique. Our NutriSilver, which is the most powerful silver on the planet for pathogen killing. Indiamese, anti-aging technology for bringing minerals into your cells. Again, remember, the telomeres at the end of your chromosomes, the little antennae, send signal to your cell membranes to absorb minerals, and minerals are the primary thing to turn on and off genes. Cardiovasc, our cardiovasc formula for 7 synergistic herbs to promote maximum heart, vascular health, and perfusion. Lumen Photon, infrared light therapy, Mountain Med Velvet, and Alamax cream. Ozone therapy, the ozone therapy device for ozonated water. Ozone for your mild hyperbaric chamber. Home detox technology, including hydrogen anion body detox. And, of course, the QRMA, bioplasma, and metapathia testing devices, all you can purchase on time payments. Vibra Slim, the best vibrational exercise you can get, and I usually recommend body elastic bands and mild adjustable weights that you can get, say, at Amazon. We're also setting an Amazon site for some equipment that I recommend, such as the HydroFloss dental irrigation system, the Sinew Pulse, which we used to carry exclusively long before it became really popular, developed by a ENT specialist out of Oklahoma. The Dr. U book, which explains functional medicine and biophysics of functional quantum medicine. We have the DNA telomere resonant mineral frequency harmonic MP3s, and people love those. You can play those through your ears. You can also purchase through Less EMF, the device, a combination of that can allow you to broadcast that frequency or generate a microcurrent. We have, of course, the Carrot Bars Gold Business, which is, I strongly recommend it if you're a prepper. Pure Water Systems, 10% off code if you use the code NutriMed, and mild hyperbaric oxygen therapy. And if you need to contact Bruce McKeeman, it's 612-325-8243. These are the best priced mild hyperbaric oxygen systems, the most ergonomic on earth. No matter what country, we ship everywhere. We have Less EMF, which provides you all the testing technology and protection technology against electromagnetic fields. PrepareWise Foods, the best Mylar bag, longest lasting, lowest oxygen concentration, freeze-dried food, as well as other technology companies like the Ready Store, which applies also the best medical emergency food and equipment. I'm planning on adding another supplier too for doing ham radio operation and so on, because it's another great skill set you need to have. So those technologies are coming. We also, of course, on our front page have the some other affiliates such as Turtle Tough Shelters, etc. So we always have specials on. Right now we have NutriSilver specials. Those will stay on all the time. Brain Power specials now. NutriDefense, which is the most powerful antiviral, most powerful antioxidant we have in the whole world. Power C Plus, which is the only neutral vitamin C in the world, the highest concentration. The Life Support Vanilla, QRMA, Green Tea Select, and of course the Cardiovasc, which is always on special. So you can't beat it. And I really appreciate all your support for regularly ordering and getting all your nutraceutical needs, and especially great, these are fantastic stocking stuffers to help you stay healthy with your family. Want to continue on some of our wellness issues until we get a hold of Ryan, who should be here shortly. Let's have a look at some of the not only the consultations we've done, but some of the ones that are coming. There's a question someone had about thunderstorm asthma. Actually, the ion change in the atmosphere during thunderstorms can trigger off very bad asthmatic attacks. That's quite true. I had someone resend me the incorrect file for their QRMA. They need to send just a compressed file. Just go and save and send me the compressed files I mentioned in the last segments earlier. We have, of course, a citizen of Quebec, Canada, who has some problems with prostate. They're taking a toxic drug called finasteride, which is a very nasty drug. It actually blocks male hormone, so it can reduce prostate swelling, but it's not the way to go. Ryan, wonderful to have you here. I'd like you to pick out a couple of top nutraceuticals that you would recommend, and we'll expand those into protocols, etc. So let's go from the top. What are your picks today?
Well, let's see, Dr. Bill. I think I'm going right off the bat with something that I like to drink in the afternoons, as you do. Sports Energy Light is one of my favorite things.
Oh, yeah. It's in little nitrogen sachets. Why? This is very unusual to have a drink in a nitrogen sachet because it's so powerful. You have to prevent any interaction with oxygen. What's in it that makes it so powerful, and what does it do to your body?
Well, this is a formulation that is basically delivering electrolytes, antioxidants, and some energy in the sense of caffeine. And people go, okay, caffeine, but this is very unique. This caffeine is actually very specialized. It's known as the caffeine co-crystal. It's a patented technology. It's got great research on it. It basically has a molecular bound effect of caffeine to what's known as methylated resveratrol, which many people have heard us talk about in the anti-age max formula. But methylated resveratrol, which is a great and powerful antioxidant in its own right. But by binding these two together, what happens is, unlike normal caffeine that spikes in 15 minutes, I'm sure anybody listening that uses caffeine probably experimented with this, this morning in their kitchen by drinking coffee. 15 minutes up, and then it peaks immediately and goes down, and within an hour and a half, it leaves you hanging. In a lot of ways, you're worse off. And what's neat about this one is it has a slower rise. It takes about 30 minutes for it to peak, but what's interesting is it stays at its peak pharmacokinetically for 30 minutes at its peak, which is as high as the caffeine, but you only have to use a very small amount, 95 milligrams. And then it has beneficial effects even at 6 hours for enhancing energy, concentration, cognition, alertness. These are all things that that's the reason you drink the cup of coffee in the first place. Imagine that you only had one small cup, because we're talking about literally the caffeine equivalent of basically a half of one of those, Starbucks Pike Place coffees that most people will get. And yet the benefits are 6 hours later. That's what people are really looking for. And at the same time, Dr. Bill, the sachet contains things like 50 milligrams of S-acetylglutathione. It's a very powerful antioxidant that our body produces, but it's in there directly. It's got 500 milligrams of pH-balanced vitamin C per serving. How many of your listeners right now take vitamin C every day? They're like, I don't know, all of them?
Yeah, it's very important for vascular health, brain health, etc. And by the way, ascorbic acid, it has to be in this pH balance, which means it's this is like the calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium ascorbate. It's not pH buffered, it's actually pH neutral, which is very unique.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get more than 500 milligrams, you're going to wreck your bowel.
Yes, and then beyond that, activated formats, organic green tea, red coffee bean fruit. It's just phenomenal. 2,500 micrograms of methylcobalamin, which is your active form of B12. There's a lot of people listening that go, well, I take B12 every day. You're like, it's in this. This is so well-rounded. So whether you're an athlete or you're just a regular person that says, hey, I would love to have an alternative to, one, maybe it's your coffee, or maybe, most likely, there are a lot of people listening that are taking different things from, a 5-hour energy to Red Bull to Rockstars to Monster to you name it. You have a very viable, healthy option to go to. And you just rip it open, dump it in a water bottle or in a glass of water. You can spoon stir it or shake it up. Mix is really easy. Tastes fantastic. You got just a remarkable formulation without any synthetic sugars or anything like that. It just uses a little bit of stevia for its sweetness, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, that's good. Now, of course, there are you can add to that, if you want to, some of our D-ribose powder as well. But this drink, I like to sometimes add a little Calm Mind Brain Mag to it. And that's good during the day. And then then during the evening, I take out the Sports Energy Light and just use the Calm Mind Brain Mag in the evening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I could comment on the Calm Mind, this formula's been in the line for quite some time, and it skyrocketed as one of the best in the Nutrimedical lineup because it has such a profound effect on people for, when they're dealing with anxiety and stress situations, but also craving issues and sleep patterning. What's neat about Calm Mind is it really can be used throughout the day. It's not one of these that's just going to sedate you. But it's a formulation that's really built around helping with what they call the secondary neurotransmitter messaging molecules. That's
Right.
kind of a complex way of saying it's helping to get the communication of saying, hey, you don't need to stress out right now, and make sure that your cells can actually express that behavior, that your neurons will fire on that behavior versus going, we're under attack, we've got major problems, give me alcohol, give me drugs, give me sugars, give me ice cream, whatever that may be, that fills that need, that gives you that overwhelming sense of relief. Calm Mind steps in there and becomes the surrogate, but it's really filling up a deficiency that's causing this problem in the first place. Many people actually produce enough neurotransmitters so that they could calm down. The problem is they actually don't have the carrier. Kind of like Pony Express, it's like you wrote the letter and gave it to the guy on the horse. You got to get the horse to actually deliver it, right? Think of Calm Mind as a way to deliver the message where it needs to go. And so a lot of people, really, you're dealing with a nutrient deficiency that's causing you not to be able to relax. And if you can figure that out, it is a home run. I think you call it better than booze, Dr. Bill. I think that's pretty funny.
Now, one of the things that I want to reference back to the Sports Energy Light, and I've been doing research on the primary nutrients that actually do what I call life extension. And it turns out that the combination of pterostilbene, which is a long-acting form of resveratrol, the glutathione, reduced glutathione, and the antioxidants like Power C+, and the catechins are very powerful at lengthening telomeres and literally life extension. So, these drinks and these materials are really unique. There's no equivalent out there. You can't just go and Google and go on Amazon or somewhere else and find something equivalent. Because sometimes what we find is we start someone on a protocol, they get started on it, and then they disappear in the woodwork and wonder, did they continue taking it, or where are they getting it? They're not getting it. They can't get it from someone else because it's not available elsewhere. And they have to understand that you want to be on the right nutraceuticals if you're going to actually move toward health, and you want to actually get proper functional medicine advice and testing so you know you're there, either with QRMA or blood, urine, stool, saliva testing, imaging studies, etc., to know if you actually made progress. So that's pretty significant. So the Sports Energy Light is like a series of drinks. What I have in the morning for my breakfast is 5 ounces of a combination of glycemics, Ageless, Life Support, and NutriComplete, and I put some of the oils like omega cod liver liquid in that drink. And of course I call it my syrup, and I give it to my daughter with Down syndrome too, Kelsey, and she loves it. I mean, that's a good way to start off your day, or even have an extra glass, 5 ounces for lunch. So these nutraceuticals are remarkable in terms of how they're going to actually counter your energy needs, your nutrient needs. Again, high nutrient density and low calorie density is really important. What's your next choice?
I think, Dr. Bill, I think a lot of people need to go look at the probiotics, Living Probiotic Ultra. The probiotics, we know more and more as the science and the studies come out that if we have these imbalances of bacteria in the gut, which most people do, simply because they do live a life of stress, they eat on the run, they eat a lot of sugar or carbohydrates, they take antibiotics or acid-inhibiting products, they've really set up to destroy the way the gut is working. And so more neurotransmitters are produced in the gut lining than there are even in the brain. And so kind of in this connection of saying, look, you want your whole body to be able to constantly feel good and do good and respond well to the environment it lives in, we've got to replenish these beneficial bacteria. And by replenish, what I mean is these formulations, Living Probiotic and Living Probiotic Ultra, what they're going to do is basically stimulate the regrowth of native bacterium while they're transitioning through your gut. No probiotic orally that you take as an adult stays in your body. Most have a span of 3 to 25 days in your gut, but while they're in there, what they can do to impact the balance then dictates down the line how you respond to your environment, the inflammation that you create, the way you challenge your immune system or the way your immune system is upregulated, how your bowels function, gas, bloating, all these things.
Right. In fact, even inflammation throughout your body can be regulated. We now know that probiotic bacteria present anti-cancer nutrients back to the tissues of the body, have produced molecules that are anti-inflammatory throughout the body, change the balance of neurotransmitters. There's a lot of effects you wouldn't have expected that a probiotic bacteria will change the entire body, like anti-cancer, neurotransmitters in the brain, bowel, how can I say it, leakiness and so on. If your probiotics are healthy, your small bowel and large bowel bacteria are, there's no small bowel bacteria, but you're going to maintain a sterile small bowel and have large bowel bacteria that are going to be healthy, nourishing the colonocytes of your bowel wall. People aren't aware that 3/4 of the nutrition of your bowel wall actually comes from your probiotic bacteria. And there's also detoxification. For example, if you have the good bacteria there, they prevent what's called deconjugating bacteria, re-releasing toxins that your liver conjugated in your liver. And they came down in the bile, and if you have bad bacteria in your lower gut, you're actually going to remobilize those toxins by re-releasing them. The probiotic bacteria prevent that from happening. That's pretty significant, isn't it?
It sure is.
So in other words, if your lower bowel bacteria, and I remember when I was doing my biochemistry degrees and marine bacteriology, one of our scientists was actually in our university at Dalhousie, was actually testing bacteria and actually discovering that probiotic, the dysbiosis in lower bowel, was re-releasing toxins back in that you can measure in someone's blood in there, that they're deconjugating bacteria or triggering off cancer because it's re-releasing conjugated toxins in the lower bowel. Nasty, eh?
Yeah. This is what is so exciting about this industry is as complex as everybody wants to make ICD-9 codes, because there's a gazillion of them, of all these things you've got or problems. Turns out it's really, when it comes to the solutions, though, there's not that many. Because
they're all very common. They're very common
solutions. They're around these core concepts. And so it's not overwhelming. Sometimes people feel overwhelmed, but you're like, man, you take it from the top and make sure the digestion is working properly, like you're saying it. Dr. Bill, too many people are stuck on like acid inhibiting products or proton pump inhibitors, and they think it's okay because the commercials, make it sound like you just eat like a kid again and it's no big deal. They don't realize that by doing this suppressive effect, yes, they did take away a symptom, but unfortunately, they've set themselves up to change the way the pH works in the bowel. And so they set themselves up for dysbiosis. They set themselves up for that SIBO, small intestinal bowel overgrowth, where you're getting bacterium that will proliferate that shouldn't be in a very hostile environment of small intestine. They get in there. And just by doing some simple things like adding digestives, you can start shutting these problems down.
Yeah, that's pretty important, Ryan. Remarkable points. Back in a moment. If you have questions, do call our board op, 800-313-9443. We'll be back in a minute with the next segments of Wellness and NutriMeds to make you the best you can be. And the gifts of health, if you have a relative and they say, hey, I'm suffering with this or that, just tell them, hey, here's a gift. I'm going to give you X amount of nutraceuticals from Dr. Bill, a gift certificate or, a dollar limit, and say, hey, Dr. Bill, what can you do for this individual? Just drop me an email and I'll give you a protocol and say, here's what you need to take, and you can be the Nutrimedical Santa. What do you think? Good idea, eh? So, the thing is, no matter what your condition, you could be diabetic, you can have peripheral neuropathy, you can have eye problems like glaucoma, you could have, post-ECMO brain or post-radiation issues, you can have chronic psoriasis. It doesn't matter. We have protocols for virtually any health condition you can imagine. And the nice thing is the nutraceuticals don't have side effects. That's what's amazing. One we haven't talked about for a while, let's say we're going to do athletics, is muscle building, mega muscles, amino acids.
Mm-hmm.
Growth hormone, of course, we have our microdose growth hormone, Mountain Red Velvet, but we have things that can supply the collagen for building connective tissues. Joints, for example, tendon, mender, and joint performance. Collagen Max. Mega Muscles amino acid powder. And of course, a lot of people don't realize in order to rebuild your body, you need to have proper digestion. So the idea of digestes and gastrozyme, a lot of people and I've done the testing, the functional medicine testing through, say, a CDSA 2 testing at Genova Labs in Atlanta, through directlabs.com for people, and surprisingly, even teenagers may have maldigestion where they're not digesting their proteins, but especially senior citizens or people even in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. If you're not digesting your material properly, you're not going to build up proteins, including muscles and the connective tissues that are the basis for your bones or your ligaments. So let's talk about mega muscles amino acids. This is great for people trying to rebuild their muscles and tissues. That's a remarkable product. We have another one that we're working on, but it's not yet gone through all the stages. That is a product that will take the formula for Sports Energy Light and kind of upgrade it to some other forms of special.
It'll turn Sports Energy Light into a pre-workout formula as well. So that's an exciting one that's coming.
Right.
But mega muscles right now, this is really this is an important thing on a lot of levels. Name it mega muscles, and people can think about the guys working out or girls working out and saying, hey, maybe that's not exactly what I'm looking for. I don't need more muscle. What you do want is more muscle mass, because
even if you're
more fat. So
if you're a senior citizen or a woman, you got to maintain muscle mass and protein. It's called positive protein balance. It's not just muscles. It's amino acids are going to maintain your density of your collagen in your bones, so you're going to have more to crystallize on.
In this exact example, Dr. Bell, like you cite, the research coming from Dr. Robert Wolf, this has been multiple decades of research that allows him to make the decision to put these in combination, because he spent so many years looking at what's going on in the body and how the body's drawn to use certain amino acids at certain ratios. And if they're missing, literally, he'd be like, it won't matter if you want to gobble down more Ensure, or you want to drink more, literally any kind of protein drinks, or you want to eat more chicken breast. It won't matter unless you have these ratios specifically in your body, because it is literally like a lock and key scenario. So for a lot of individuals, especially as we start aging, the muscles start atrophying or just not maintaining themselves, which leads you open not only to injury, because that's the number one reason you're going to fall down in the first place, is because you don't have the muscles to keep yourself balanced. And number two, your immune system. So people hear about it, they're like, oh, he died of pneumonia. You know why he died of pneumonia? Because he's laying in bed, his muscles have wasted away, and he haven't been able to stop it. Well, the research using this combination shows people on bed rest for 28 days using this formulation, they didn't lose muscle mass. They did if they didn't get the amino acids in this blend. They gained muscle mass. And they didn't even move. They were bedridden. They didn't get to exercise. So that should tell you how profound it is. And you know what? A lot of people going to the gym are literally wasting their time, because they get themselves in a net muscle-building balance, and unless you replenish with these amino acids, you don't turn that around properly. And so you actually, going to the gym, may be causing more harm than good. And I'll bet there's a lot of people out there that feel like it's that way.
Yeah, that's a very important thing. The other thing that people should be aware of is when you have elevated glucagon levels, which berberstatin releases, the glucagon that's tied in with diabetes and high insulin, high cortisol, stress hormones, actually makes you convert your protein into sugar. So you even more need these, especially if you're diabetic, because you don't just lose. This is why yo-yo dieting is particularly bad for diabetics and people who are obese, because they become obese at the same weight. They become more obese, they get loss of more lean muscle mass and replace it with more fat each time they yo-yo diet. Interesting, eh? So, Ryan, what's your next pick?
Well, I guess
a hard break here. We're against a hard break. Think about it, and we'll be back in a minute. I had a gentleman who wanted some eye care, and of course he says he's on a fixed income, so he couldn't take my full protocol, which is Vision Max, Can-C, Cell Detox, Glutathione, Vein Away, Ultrathiamine B1, and Neurogen. If I was going to just pick a couple, I would say take Vision Max, Can-C eye drops, and probably the Cell Detox Glutathione for reducing oxidative stress in the eye. The things that are going to protect the microvessel are Vein Away, which just diasts them into proper nanoparticle size, Ultrathiamine B1 to affect the transketolase enzyme pathways, and for remyelination of the optic nerve and the vascular and neurological bed of the eye, the rods and cones, Neurogen, and Omega Supreme Krill, the astaxanthin, very protective against the oxidative stress in the back of the eye, the retina, for retinitis. So, Ryan, any comments about Vision Max that you want to make? Which is not just for vision, by the way, it's for prostate too. Because believe it or not, it's the same components. I think God had a sense of humor when he said, hey, I'm going to use the same nutrients to protect your prostate as your vision. So you could probably make some good SNL jokes
he
out of
says,
that.
I'm just trying to be efficient. Because I know you won't eat that many vegetables, so I'll just make it easier. But the big thing is comparison of what people have available to them. They go over the counter and they're looking for things. They're like, oh, this, Ocuvite formula, I guess, is okay. That's about all that I see out here. And no pun intended, right? But you've got to have bioavailable nutrients. You've got to have them in significant quantities that are going to make the major impact. And that's where, obviously, you listen to Dr. Bill about the Nutrimedical lineup of products, and that's what you're delivering when you talk about the formula.
Yeah, I know Steve Levine, who developed Ocuvite 35 years ago from UC Irvine, but it's out of date. And our Vision Max is far superior to it. And nowadays, people are exposed to more high-energy ultraviolet light. Did you know that 3/4 of all cataract surgery is in the left eye because it's closer to the window in your car? Interesting, in the left eye. 3/4 of cataract surgery. Yeah,
I believe it. Melanoma on the left side.
Yeah, and the people get more sunburn on that left side, even if they have the window cranked up. That's kind of interesting. I think also people don't realize that in the last 23, 24 years, the amount of ultraviolet energy that's coming from UVB or higher energy light has gone from 23% to 74% of light is actually UV, CD, and higher levels of energy. So we're seeing higher energy light coming out of the sun, so we don't have the same spectral pattern as we did, say, a decade ago or when we were kids. People should realize that it's increasing because the sun activity is changing. It's not a constant. It fluctuates, but it's increasing in terms of higher energy light frequencies. So that's just one aspect. The amount of people that are turning diabetic and getting diabetic oxidative stress changes, the number of people with vascular disease, the number of people with cataracts, the number of people with retinitis caused by various conditions, it's all increasing. And, people's diets are deficient in nutrients. For example, we have in our Vitamin Mineral Max Minerals plus all the trace minerals to protect you from oxidative stress and blood sugar control and everything. And if you don't take these nutrients, you're going to have increased problems. So then we have other things to protect your tiny vessels. Vein-Away and ultrathiomin B1 are particularly good. The Omega Supreme Pro with astaxanthin and our new Omega Pro, which is coming out very shortly. Let's talk about this for a moment because the eye care is a big deal. It's not being properly approached in most ways. We had technology to help the eye heal, which is lumen photon and micropulse for stem cell therapies. Mild hyperbaric oxygen for people who have more advanced retinitis or other things, because hyperbaric oxygen will help to be an anti-inflammatory and help stem cells regenerate. All the way up to peptides for eye regeneration and even stem cell transplant. So we have clinics that can refer people to that they can contact them directly. I don't get any fee, whatever, from doing it. I just say these are the ones that I know work. So Ryan, any other comments about Vision Max that you want to make, or any other nutraceutical?
Well, Omega Supreme Pro, like you're bringing that up, that is just going to be a breakthrough technology for people to use. This is where you can use far less, 3 times less, really, than what you're using currently for your fish oil, and get that at the same absorption. Or if you want to take it at equivalent dose to what you're already taking, you can really enhance the body's ability to change its EPA and DHA ratios, which can be challenging for people. We see in clinical studies with this material the ability to jump using this formulation 5-6 percentage points in a matter of a month. And that is a very powerful tool to kind of rebuild that cellular membrane the way you want, whether that's the eye tissue or any other tissue in the body. We know that, especially in America and now spreading around the world, we have a completely messed up ratio between our omega-3s and our omega-6 fatty acids, and that's causing a lot of challenges with regards to inflammation and cells behaving like they should not be behaving.
Now, I had an interesting email from a gentleman who wanted a protocol because he says he's on a fixed income. But he talked about this with his doctor, and his doctor tried to recommend that the nutraceutical protocol we gave was identical, believe it or not, to this drug for diabetes called Trulicity. That's just not the case. These doctors that are not qualified and trained in functional medicine don't know the difference, and it's not expensive. Our nutraceutical protocol is gorgeous: diabetoline, berberstatin, and leptin metabolic. If you're really tough on finances, just get the dibetaline and berberstatin, and avoid simple carbohydrates. You have a low glycemic index diet, that'll make a huge difference. If you want to substitute meals, glycemics. So I just can't see it, and for a conventional doctor to try to say a toxic drug, which is going to have side effects, is equivalent to a nutraceutical protocol with no side effects that fixes the problem. Many of these so-called oral medications increase insulin and glucagon, which actually makes the problem worse. Even if they bring your blood sugar down, they actually compound the underlying metabolic disorders. They don't fix it. So people should be aware of that, shouldn't they? And so when doctors are backed into the corner and they really have no training, experience, or knowledge, and they lie and say that the drugs are equivalent, it's just not the case, is it?
Yeah.
Disturbing. As I say, if you're backed in the corner and you're a conventional doctor and you don't know the difference, lie and tell them it's equivalent to the toxic drugs you want to give that their drug plan might cover. Even if it gets side effects or causes horrible complications. Pretty crazy, eh?
Very.
So, I'm just looking over some of the requests I have from various people, and it's kind of some of them are pretty funny. Some are like, "You're kidding?" Not really. Let's see, what do we have here now? Okay. So what is your next pick in terms of nutraceutical?
Probably look at Dr. Bill. You always, catch me off guard when I'm thinking about one thing with the Immunomax. I think would be
which is our course, our Nutrimune. We carry the capsules now, 4 capsules twice a day.
Yeah, Nutrimune and Immunomax, but Nutrimune. Yeah, what I like about Nutrimune, we talked about probiotics earlier in the show, but people are missing kind of a big portion of this story, which is, the longer a person has been sick or inflamed and suffered from a condition, they start losing their immunoglobulins that are critical along the gastrointestinal border. And so these guys are responsible for really neutralizing viral, bacterial, environmental, even food allergens. And so you get less and less, and so you become more and more reactionary to all kinds of things in your environment and your diet and so forth. And I know a lot of people listening are like, yep, that's me. I'm like, can't eat anything but chicken and rice or whatever it may be. And so probiotics, like we talked about, Living Probiotic Ultra, great. But there is another side of that equation that really should be addressed for a lot of challenged patients, and that is the immunoglobulins.
Now, that's all in Nutrimune capsules, but it's also in our age list. So age list includes probiotic bacteria, the Vega Pro ricin protein. It includes the probiotics, and it includes Nutrimune immunoglobulins, and also has the anti-aging malignant block, actually, and so actually protects and repairs DNA. So it does make you age less. It also has the resveratrol as well in it, so it has a big effect on protecting your telomeres. The next one I think we should talk about is the issue of fat-soluble thiamine and how useful it is. We're restoring kidney function, protecting the eye, protecting the vessel wall. Ultrathiamine B1 and vein wear are my 2 biggies, along with the omega krill and now the omega supreme, which we carry for the blood vessel wall. The ultrathiamine B1, this is neat. It is very important for protecting the loop of Henle in the kidney and also protecting the blood vessels throughout the body, capillary, vein, and artery. So it's the enzyme called transketolase that it stimulates to help protect the blood vessel walls. It also has some dramatic effects on peripheral neuropathy. If you're trying to reverse neuropathy, you need to take ultrathiamine B1, CDP choline, and uridine, if you're a fast-acetylator or uridine monophosphate. And you should be taking your omega fatty acids, omega neurogen, which is DHA, omega supreme, and omega krill in order to regenerate the phospholipid layers and regenerate your peripheral nerves. So, any comments about ultrathiamine B1?
Not your normal B1. Just be aware of that, because a lot of people are like, well, I take B1. You're like, no, this is not what you're going to find in your multivitamin and in your B complex. This is a very specific fat-soluble form of B1 that has a very profound effect on inhibiting free radical production and basically with the reactive oxygen species that are going on. And for a lot of people, this is a way to interrupt that whole glucose issue, where the glucose is binding with proteins and doing damage because your blood sugar is elevated. This has a direct interrupting effect on that. So it's a really powerful antioxidant and protector of our bodies.
Yeah, and so we're covering a lot of areas that are really important here today, aren't we? Antioxidants, Power C+, Cell Detox, Glutathione, Nutrimedical. This is another one we talked about for diabetes. Extremely important to get rid of what's called glycosylation effect, where sugar attached to proteins. Nutrimedical. We also have carnosine D-link. Let's talk about Nutrimedical. This is one of our core, anti-diabetic. We lower your CGP. When you lower your glycosylated hemoglobin, you also lower inflammation in your blood vessel walls and your nerves, called C-reactive protein or PI1 or other inflammatory markers. Because although sugar is a good patch to grab free radicals, it also, by the way, when it gets cross-linked, is a natural inflammatory as well. So it's not good to have cross-linked proteins, is it?
No.
So Nutrimedical.
Fortunately, we're doing it all day long.
It recycles your fat and water-soluble antioxidants, not just for glycosylated hemoglobin. It recycles all your antioxidants, fat-soluble and water-soluble. So it's a universal recycler. So if you look at the blood levels, if you recycle them, it means it doesn't matter what your level is, as long as it's recycled, you don't deplete it. So Nutrimedical is pretty important, isn't it? Not just for diabetics, it's important for anybody under oxidative stress or free radicals, or their body is acid. If your body's acid on a QRMA test or saliva test for acidity, it means you need Nutrimedical to keep your body, because free radicals and inflammation means acidity, and Nutrimedical and Power C+ are the two biggies to knock that back and make you alkaline. Nutrimedical and Power C+. The next I want to cover is cod liver liquid, and why this will lower your cholesterol as or better than the cholesterol-lowering drugs. And it contains vitamin A, D, E, and K, which is important for your liver function and your blood vessels and your bones, etc. Omega cod liver liquid will protect your vessel walls, so it is cytoprotective against plaque formation, and it also is protective against the small particle VLDL3 and small particle HDL that can cause plaque. So another important one. And the other for reversing calcification of arteries is full vitamin K2. So let's talk about these two for vessels: omega cod liver liquid and full vitamin K2 for reversing metastatic calcification of vessels or elsewhere in your body.
Well, full vitamin K2, this thing's just getting more and more attention to it. Just like D3, people are very aware now of watching their D3 levels and making sure that they're dealing with that issue. K2's coming right behind it because it's got such a profound effect. And so people are hearing more and more about, hey, you're calcifying tissues you shouldn't be. That's something to make you kind of raise a flag saying, I probably do not have enough K2, because your body can't regulate the hormone osteocalcin, which then leads to these problems. But what's interesting is, one of the first reasons that you've got to supplement K2 is because your gut bacteria is not producing it. Why? Because you have dysbiosis. And so, again, back to the Living Probiotic Ultra, get that in your regimen, right? We've got to reestablish the gut flora, but at the same time, you don't want to just leave yourself there with, deficiencies in K2. So being able to supplement that and bring up those levels dramatically, the active form is a powerful way to go and support your body.
Yes, next one I think is a CoQ10. And we have the only CoQ10 in the world that doesn't crystallize, CoQ10 Supreme. We have the highest absorption rate of CoQ10 Supreme ubiquinol, which we use for the gums to regenerate, for the brain to stop migraines, to stop vasospasm, which can cause TIAs or transient ischemic attacks, and for neuroprotective of the brain tissue, along with things like Brain Mag and our Brain Power, which is vinpocetine and Cognition Plus. CoQ10 Supreme ubiquinol is what I call the central nervous system, solid organ, gums, and tissue regenerative reserve form of CoQ10. And people should take both, by the way, for their heart and vessels. But the CoQ10 Supreme ubiquinol works particularly across the blood-brain barrier in the brain. We use it along with Power Methyl B12 and BioLVR, which is B12, folic acid, and activated B6 to stop migraine headaches. And it's very effective along with gamma E+, which stops the peroxynitrate and hydroperoxy radical. So CoQ10 Supreme and CoQ10 Supreme Ubiquinol, let's talk about these for a minute, because a lot of people don't realize CoQ10 is depleted by HMG-CoA reductase drugs, which the doctors flog, Zocor, Lipitor, Crestor. But a lot of people have abysmally low levels of CoQ10, especially as you get older. After age 25 to 30, your levels drop like a rock. And if you don't have adequate CoQ10, your mitochondria don't function properly. So part of mitochondrial dysfunction and aging is actually simply a CoQ10 deficiency of the CoQ10 itself, is the activated spark form that's immediate and it's destroyed pretty quickly, and the CoQ10 Supreme Ubiquinol that's a reserve form that also crosses the blood-brain barrier and into solid organs and in your gums. If you want to regenerate your gums, you need to burst and hold in your mouth the CoQ10 Ubiquinol. I guess we'll hear your answer when we come back, talking about CoQ10. Back in just a moment with Ryan. Be a NutriMed. We talk about mitochondrial metabolism. It's interesting. Every cell in our body is a symbiosis between the eukaryotic DNA in our chromosomes and the little ring chromosome called mitochondria. In some cells, like astrocytes, there's 500,000 to 1 million plus. In large cells, like Purkinje cells in your cerebellum, there's many millions, or in a cardiomyocyte, millions of mitochondria. So mitochondrial health is pretty important, and CoQ10 is important for mitochondrial health, as well as these antioxidants present in sports energy light, cell detox glutathione, and other antioxidants like Nutritrala that protect your mitochondria. A happy cell is a cell that has happy mitochondria. And then, of course, we have CoQ10, CoQ10 Ubiquinol. They're very important for energy production, and, of course, if you're producing energy properly, you're not generating free radicals, which burn the cell. Let's talk about CoQ10 and CoQ10 Ubiquinol. These are very unique formulas. Nobody else has anything even remotely as high quality or as powerful as these, because they're stabilized against crystallization. The CoQ10, the only one in the world, and the CoQ10 Ubiquinol, the most highly absorbed reserve form of CoQ10 that literally you can bite into a capsule, and in less than 2 minutes you can have a migraine going if you just do that, along with a gamma A+, that has all the tocopherols to actually block hydroperoxy, nitroperoxy radical that cause migraines. So pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, and the fact is, a lot of people, CoQ10 is like the third most utilized supplement in the world, but a lot of people have no idea what they're shooting for with regards to influence on their blood plasma concentrations and whether it's really doing anything or not. And
right.
And as you were pointing out, the bioavailability of this is difficult because the actual material, before it even gets to your body, likes to crystallize. And when it does that, the body's not going to be able to break it down and be able to utilize it. And so most of it is really below 1% absorption rate. Some of the better ones that people have heard about, oil-based or whatever, can get to 3%. But you can move this up to over 8% by using these stabilized versions, so they won't crystallize. And so you just get a better bang for your buck. It's buyer beware.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, isn't it, that people should realize that if you have high-quality nutrients, you're going to get biological effects you didn't expect that nutraceuticals will deliver. That's why when I hear this diabetic consultant patient being told by his doctor that Trulicity is equivalent to our diabetic protocol, it doesn't have side effects and is equivalent, it's a pile of garbage. It just is. I mean, there's a few nutraceutical drugs that I think might be marginally safe, like glucophage, which is brown forever. But any drug that increases insulin output or glucagon output is bad, because insulin is the devil. And glucagon is bad because it converts protein into sugar, which, again, causes more troubles. And any nutraceuticals, any drugs that increase stress hormones like cortisol, that don't address the oxidative stress and so on, are dealing with the underlying problem, including inflammation, which is leukotriene B4. So we have nutraceuticals for obviating that. The CoQ10 and our fatty acids like Omega Supreme, the new one coming out soon, Omega Supreme Pro, and our Omega Krill, which is astaxanthin, address these to turn off inflammation. Really, really important. Thank you, Ryan. We'll see you again on Thursday, hour 2. Coming up tomorrow, Care Bar University, Emil de Toffel's back. I believe, let me check my list here. Yes. And for Reed, we will have, of course, Tim Alexander with his news update blog. And coming up Wednesday from Berlin, Harley Schlanger, and Thursday, Leo Lanzagami again. It was great to have Leo on today. We'll have a much bigger update on video on the weekend from Leo. And tomorrow afternoon, after the show, sign up for live stream. We're going to have a live stream report from Jim Fetzer on a number of topics. It's going to be amazing. You don't want to miss it. Just sign up. It's free. Live stream. Go to our website, NutriMedical.com.